too strong. We're going to see a Mr. Mind Band next? Who knows? But Cramorant going to be taken out of the contention. Leafeon as well. That's a lot of, that makes a lot of sense to me from Orange Juicer's side. The Tyranitar or the Leafeon pick from Trainer, I think it's just too ridiculous to allow in the game. So a good ban from them. Tyranitar from Nemesis, though. That Pokemon just stays formidable in North America. They got to take it out of the equation.
I do love the fact that we're immediately taking away the Trevenant. We did see for a while that Metallic was really kind of, I don't want to say dependent on that Pokemon to do well, but at EOS Cup, that certainly was like miles above their other picks. Now we get to see the Blaziken, which is going to be really interesting. And we haven't had a chance to kind of see this team together for a while, so specifically I'm really interested to see Metallic's other picks.
Me too. It is a very early choice on the Blaziken. This Pokemon normally does fall a little bit lower in the draft, and especially with Pokemon like Sylveon and Phalanx still available, it is a bit of a surprise to see Metallic locking in that specific option. Yifan hovering that Inteleon, though, that is a Flareon's favorite, but it's also, I mean, Yifan making that Pokemon popular worldwide for quite some time. Asnable is going to take the Slowbro. Very interesting. Normally a defender we see into kind of hyper carries or speedsters. I don't really know into Phalanx or Sylveon how often we would see that option, but Chandelure makes a lot of sense. Take away with the Imprison or with that Poltergeist, slow down the enemy.
Yeah, there's a lot of pretty good targets. So far, the entire comp from Orange Juicers is like pretty close up, so you're going to be able to kind of play the spacing game with the Chandelure. I do like that a lot.
Whoa.
And they're going to continue that on as they're going to be basically taking not very much range damage on the entire comp.
I have to imagine Machisel and Zugberg are going to swap Pokemon, and we're going to see the Top Path Trevenant. However, Top Path Crustle is not out of the realm of existence. It has succeeded before, and the final lock-in for Nemesis is going to be the Metagross. Very interesting. We are we are right in the mix of a metagame that is so dependent on brawling and just melee damage dealers. Blaziken, Metagross on one side, Phalanx, Trevenant on the other. The only range damage dealers being Chandelure and Sylveon have a lot of weight on their shoulders to carry that early poke damage.
Well, I do gotta say as well, this is a really cool pick, seeing the Metagross being picked against the Phalanx while they have the Umbreon banned. They're the ones who banned that away, which means that you're gonna be able to get a ton of shielding off of hitting the Phalanx multiple times, and then not gonna have that stolen away from you from an Umbreon.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Wonder Chef. Even a few other decisions there in the draft phase. I mean, I was kind of surprised by the Slowbro pick. However, reading that the Trevenant was not going to be played in the defender position, wanting to take the Slowbro so the enemy team couldn't take Slowbro as their second tank to shut down the Metagross or Blaziken. I think that's a pretty clever decision.
I think, that's super smart. And that's one of the things you really got to look at, because Trevenant has that level of flexibility, so you cannot make the assumption. And I mean, it does make sense that Orange Juicers would be great at playing against that because they're such good Trevenant users themselves, but it's just one of those next level draft decisions that you'd expect from a team that is in winners finals, or two teams that are really that are in winners finals.
Winners finals game one, here we go. NAIC, let me hear ya, as Orange Juicers versus Nemesis are starting off right now.
We are going to see the Phalanx and the Blaziken be taking the center areas for the moment, and we look like we're going to have a little bit of an invasion as Roland is rolling over into their center area. A little bit too slow to be able to take that. There is still a chance to steal away the blue buff, but with this pretty strong level advantage, it looks like they're probably just going to get bullied away.
Yeah, I like Trainer taking that aggressive approach on the Torch Chick, get that early damage in. Those Blaze ticks are really tough for Roland to deal with within the early game, and there'll be a first K opener going to of Nemesis.
I like that a lot, and they're going to be able to take kind of an advantage of, well, actually, no, they took advantage of, like, the distraction is what I should say. We're going to see Orange Juicers score a decent amount of points in that bottom tier 1. The Hyper Voice doing a chunk of damage. This path so far not super scary, but a few more levels on Nemesis' side, and it will be able to take some of these fights. But for the moment, they just kind of have to accept they're going to be slightly bullied.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Metallic having a little bit of a slow level up on this Beldum, has not found that level 5 evolution quite yet, but now they are taking down those birds. Sylveon plus that Rock Tomb, terrifying to deal with.
I mean, this is just, it's bullying. It's bullying right now. Like I said, we need a few more levels before we actually get to see what this bottom path looks like, but I don't know if they're going to have a goal zone by that point. I mean, we still see the Litwick just sad down there, and that is one of the issues of having to kind of level up 2 Pokemon, you kind of decide who's going to be taking the center area. But right now, they're fighting for that center area as we are seeing the Hyper Voice try to scare off some members that are defending Rex, just running around in circles, trying to chase their support counterpart. Oh, barely getting through. Great escape from Roland.
Yeah, well done. Really going to get through that portal. Actually come right on back. But interesting to see the Hyper Voice from the Sylveon. Yeah, a few slower moving members. And, well, Flareon's very comfortable in that Screamion style of position. Already having a ton of scores and almost at 100 points for Orange Juicers. They are starting off so well in this matchup.
They are. I mean, that is a gigantic lead. One interesting thing, speaking of that, the exact matchup I was talking about, they managed to get a KO on the bottom there. But do you know by chance if there's some sort of interesting interaction between Phalanx and Chandelure? Because I did see every one of the dinks, as Doomsnax calls them, have the little flame debuff above their head. So there might be some sort of interaction that we get to see.
That's Nightshade. So when you Nightshade mark a target, anybody you hit with it will get stunned with any of your burning moves. So that is the preemptive indicator before they get their second move up.
Right. But it goes above everybody's head. So I was just curious if there was any interesting interactions, like you get stunned multiple times.
Oh, yeah, that would be wild. I think it's really just if you hit any of them, the whole team is stunned, which is, again, another tough thing for Phalanx to deal with. But what it lacks in some of these matchups, it makes up for in numbers across the board. Kratos, in particular, they were Orange Juicers was on broadcast once before. Their Phalanx looked legendary. Maybe one of the best Phalanx players we've seen in North America. And Kratos already has a couple of KOs in this match. And let's add a Regieleki secure to that list.
Oh, right now we got to see who's going to be able to take that, and it was the side of Nemesis, and so with that Blaziken being able to take that, they've got a little bit of a chance to fight back for points, but there's already so many members of Orange Juicers defending. It looks like that Regieleki is just going to get burned down. That was a great Rock Tomb to make sure that nobody could really escape or try to get through there. However, they're not going to be able to use that too much to an advantage. This would be interesting to see Nemesis push this. It looks like they're not in the greatest position offensively, especially just trying to walk into that wall that is Flareon's with the Hyper Voice. It looks like they're all going to back up.
Shout out to Trainer for having the Blaziken Battle Pass complete. That Battle Pass came out yesterday, by the way. So Trainer LGC really liking the Blaziken champion style, and he's playing it fantastic, I have to admit. That those animations are awesome. When you unite move to change, it gets a trophy above their head every time. I am into that.
Oh yeah, and sometimes, I mean, you know you're on the biggest stage. You're like, well, we're gonna
time to flex.
We gotta flex. But right now is gonna have to flex on defense. As right now it is 3v2 up in this top tier 1 gold zone. Oh, actually, we do see a Yeet fan kind of sneak in from the bottom to help with this defense, and they're doing a pretty good job of it. But that is a huge Horn Leech to be able to kind of push through. But no, gonna get punished. Runs back into the Rock Tomb, and this is a huge counter push from Nemesis.
Yeah, big stuff by Trainer to stay up that whole time. Blaziken has a really hard time when they take so much damage from those Iron Heads, but they were able to hold up the whole time and dish out the damage the other direction. Bliss Assistance will give Trainer a little bit of extra damage, but they elect to retreat. Not having the Metagross to join that fight might just be a bit too tough to get onto that enemy cool zone. Trainer, though, never going too far away from their objective.
A lot of really good Rock Tombs, but a lot of good mobility on the side of Nemesis to be able to get through them. Zugrug, extremely precise with all of those Rock Tombs, has been playing a lot of Crustle. And I do have to say, this is starting to get a really scary spot, in my opinion, for Orange Juicers. They've been doing really well. Everybody's been, they've got a slight lead, but we were hitting the power spikes for Nemesis, and this might be one of the first times we're going to see it. Regieleki getting immediately low. Looks like it goes down to the Hyper Voice, but a lot of big unites coming out on both sides. As we're actually seeing quite a bit of damage, I think, come out from that Phalanx. Going to be able to pick up the KO on the Chandelure, but it's going to have to continue on, get a few more, and yeah, look at that. The shielding is starting to come out metallic. Did manage to get some pretty strong shields, but it wasn't enough. Everybody's so healthy on Orange Juicers still.
Yeah, a small score in from Roland, potentially even more to get a bigger overdunk, but we are just going to break that thing. Kratos wanting to put in as much as they possibly can. Phalanx actually having a passive that increases the amount of Eos energy they can hold. So that's why we're able to hit 50 so quickly. They are breaking that goal zone, though, and that is so much score tempo. They have held Nemesis to under 10 points right now. Nemesis looked okay in a couple of moments, specifically Trainer, but Metallic and Yeefan have not really found that same level that we know they're capable of. Orange Juicers have just been stifling this Nemesis team.
Yeah, the levels are finally starting to even up. They're just like barely one level away. But I mean, honestly, the biggest thing here is Flareon's has just been melting the entire team.
Yeah, this Zug Flareon's duo is wild.
Yes.
The Rock Tomb into just permanent Sylveon damage has been so tough for Nemesis to deal with. And you're right, this bottom path has just been rocked by this Sylveon because of it.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing great there. Right now, Flareon's actually just sitting on the bottom. Flareon's on the Sylveon, not using it all. But we do need to see Nemesis really fight back in. I mean, obviously, there's 1 minute left. And like I said, they were starting to hit their power spikes, but they haven't been able to get one big, full, coordinated fight in. And that could be really big for them. But, for example, we just haven't seen Metallic. Like you said, we haven't seen them really kind of hit their, like, I don't know, winning moments, and there is only 45 seconds left until the 2-minute mark. Getting the EXP and the buff from this basement Reggie could really be what they need.
Emperor Cusco said it best, we got to find our groove, all right? And that's what Nemesis is currently hunting for. Regice has now hit the map. Drainer is in range, but they're caught by that Rock Tomb. X-Scissor as well, not pushed because of the ensemble, but they take so much damage. Crustle pushes them into the Phalanx, and that is a terrifying Pokemon sandwich to have to deal with. Regice is gone, clearly to Orange Juicers, as yet another team fight landslides in the favor of OJ.
Also, the second game that we've had on broadcast where it's been 3 of the same Reggie going to the same team, that is very weird.
I don't believe in conspiracy theories, but I'm just saying.
I don't not gonna believe in some conspiracy theories. No, this is huge. I mean, that was what Nemesis needed, but that's what Orange Juicers wanted. Let's just put it that way. And they are now with a significant lead. Points and levels and strength, just having this extra buff. Everything's looking great for them, but this is a big potential catch out as we're going to see. Okay, finally Trevin gets reset. That was really lucky. That could have been a huge pick.
Yeah, we do have the early gyro ball from Metallic. We'll get the KO, but Flareon strikes first again. Yifan is eliminated.
Oh my goodness!
And Orange Juicers just
gone!
collapse on them. And just an immediate collapse. A couple of Unite moves later, and no one from Nemesis outside of Metallic is standing. Metallic stun locked, doesn't even have the chance to get the Rayquaza, and Orange Juicers win one of the most dominant game ones we have seen in this tournament.
What happened? That was like 10 seconds. Okay, well, the first 4 members of Nemesis went down in like 3 seconds. I like literally like need to see that in slow motion to see how that went. I mean, a big part of it was the Unbound Hoopa, right? Managed to hit the big stun on everybody, it looked like, but I just cannot believe how quickly they got melted. And then within the next 5 seconds, they got the final KO, they got the Rayquaza, and that was just one of the quickest, most decisive strikes in this entire game that I have ever seen to basically guarantee a win here in game number 1 for Orange Juicers.
We're seeing what we saw a preview of the entire game. We have Zugrug and Flareons working on one side of the enemy team to push, and we have Phalanx just waiting to deal the damage on the other side. Kratos is playing that Pokemon so well because they trust their team so well to be in the right positions, to push the enemy to the correct ones, and we see the capitalization. Orange Juicers, 893 to 43 against another Worlds qualified team, the top of the championship points leaderboard this year.
That is unbelievable. Again, I am stunned at how fast that last fight went. I legitimately need to see that in slow-mo at some point. But this was a huge statement. Orange Juicers looking so incredibly good. Yeah, this was a great game for them across the board. I think they didn't really give up any great opportunities. I mean, the fact there was only 43 points scored from Nemesis in general is a very large statement that it's like from moment 1 to moment, I don't know, whatever the final moment is of the game. I'm not going to count the number of moments in a game, but they were just in control.
Shout out to Kratos for having a whole book of stuff on the table. Who knows what's in that book? Also, saw a lot of blank pages, Kratos. I don't know what you're trying to do with a whole book and making it look cool and everything, but Orange Juicers, the results I cannot argue with, though. That I have no qualms with. They are playing incredible. To make a team like Nemesis just look stifled, that was wild. That looked like something we see out of a lot of first-round matchups out of tournaments. Unreal.
And it looks like we may be able to get that moment.
Ooh, your wish.
Bless. Look how fast this is. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, my.
The Crustle stun.
Yeah.
The Rebel Rouser was one of the biggest moments. We had Zugrug just kind of set themselves amongst the enemy team and press their Unite move. I think Aznable just sort of having too many options for the slow beam in that position. That's one way to shut down Slowbro. Don't give him the opportunity to grab one target, just throw all 5 targets on top of Nemesis. Great response by Orange Juicers, force the analysis paralysis out of Nemesis. All 5 go down while having their Unite moves.
Yeah, on top of that, the way that they collapsed, there was a whole lot of visual clutter, so it's very possible that they were trying to hit a specific target. I think they're just not able to get it in time because...
But I do think their drafting phase looked incredible as well. Again, huge shout out to their coach and manager, Bina, for doing a lot of the legwork in that draft research and strategy of these enemy teams. Nemesis is going to be taking the Umbreon as the first ban. Leafeon follows it up. Cramorant eliminated before. The final ban from Nemesis, it feels like it needs to be this Tyranitar. You could ban Phalanx. That was a challenging option for you to deal with, but it looks like they're going to elect to battle the Phalanx instead of the Tyranitar.
Okay, so my personal opinion so far, just from what we've seen today, obviously these players have done so much more labbing, and we are going to see the tree taken first. I love that. That's going to be highly contested in this matchup. But I think that the Phalanx, these teams need to get rid of the Phalanx. The Phalanx has been dominant every single time we see it. Hi, Phalanx. Thank you for picking it.
Love this draft from Nemesis. Okay, we take the Phalanx, we remove the Sylveon from the equation as well. Nemesis playing really well into what Orange Juicers did last game. We haven't seen every look that Orange Juicers is capable of, though, so who knows what we're going to see. Flareons really did make a name for themselves on, well, it was on the Hoopa Central area, but they did have a lot of cool showings on the Mew, though, in the past. So maybe that's a sign of things to come a little bit later in the draft. We might see some Mew. Who knows? We might even see that Venusaur look. I would love if Trainer took away the Venusaur, but who knows? We do have the Phalanx already locked in, a dangerous early draft pick.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of really good options. I think the Venusaur would be really cool. So far, we haven't seen the Venusaur counter the Phalanx super well so far today, but they are going to go for a lot of other really core members of their team, so I like this a lot, especially when the support is going to give them kind of like a one last secret pick. And it does look like Flareon's may be going for the Mew, which we do know Flareon's is an absolutely amazing Mew player. Mew is still very strong if you're a good Mew player, which is not easy at all, but I would love to see them actually lock in this pick.
I am pretty shocked that Kratos is not locking in Venusaur here. I'm excited for the Blaziken, one of my favorite Pokemon to see competitively, one of my favorite Pokemon to play. However, you already have the Blissey, incredible synergy there, and you do have the enemy Phalanx on the other side. I guess Sylveon and Glaceon just too tough of a matchup. You pick the Venusaur, you maybe open yourself up to a Delphox option as well, so maybe just too tough of counters to lock that Pokemon in. But they're going to grab the Blaziken, a bird main of Kratos. Technically counts. But Trader LGC most likely on that Icy Wind. Yifan, I don't know what build they're going to go with on the Sylveon. It would make a lot of sense for the Hyper Voice to lower the special defense, especially since Hoopa, Blastoise, and Glaceon all do special attack damage. There's a lot of synergy there, but you got to remember, if that Hyper Voice is hitting an objective, it does lower the special defense of the objective, teeing it up for Flareons to also do special attack damage, and they do amplified damage to the objective. So it gets a little sketchy sometimes in those situations.
Yeah, but I think that there's honestly just so many good targets on the other side. They're going to be a little bit lower mobility and kind of have to sit in the Hyper Voice. I just feel
double
like
defender, right? Yeah.
Double defender plus Blaziken, which can move around, but like if you're forcing the Blaziken to move where they don't want to move, that's exactly what you're going to want. So altogether, I feel like Hyper Voice would be great there. Plus, you've already got the Glaceon, so it almost feels a little bit redundant to kind of go both the sure hits, but I mean, not that it would be bad, right? It's something amazingly good.
True.
But it just fits to me, and I especially think that with Glaceon plus Hyper Voice also, just even those two alone, you are melting this double defender comp.
Yeah, all right, well, I can't wait to see Nemesis's take on Phalanx in this game number 2. Orange Juicers on a brand new look themselves. We're going to see that Trevenant again from them, though. So strong in that first game. That Hornleech Curse build is really interesting to watch. If you have that fully charged Curse and you explode, you reset the cooldown on Hornleech, allowing you to basically chain these terrifying moves together.
Yeah, there are so many good ways that you can play Trevenant. We got a fun fact. So far in NAIC, Orange Juicers has yet to let the opposing team get any objective
Oh my goodness!
Pokemon. All right, relax. Relax, Orange Juicers. We get it. You're juiced.
Yeah, Orange Juicers pulped up out of control, it seems. Roland gonna take a quick little dip into the central here, see 3 enemy Pokemon and decide to bail as Nemesis have really hit the gas early in this matchup. But Chisel getting some great early knockouts of the wild Pokemon, though, sitting 11 points in pocket, but notably very close to their level 5 already.
Yeah, and I'm very interested, especially Metallic, specifically on the Phalanx, to see how that's going to go. Like you said, that's kind of a big question mark as to how this match will go, but Flareon's as well. I would love to see the Mew, so first time we're going to be able to see that in this set, and it's always fun to watch any good Mew player, but especially, I mean, there's like 3 or 4 that I just will always love seeing. Flareon's being one of them.
Yeah, there's a couple of others still in our tournament, right? Like, so
Yeah,
we have some great Mew players hanging out. Yifan gonna dunk in 17, hits that level 5. Asmonville with that score will also get to the level 5 breakpoint. So these early invades really paying off for Nemesis. I love this. Double evolution. Make sure that you are being the aggressors in this matchup. Take the enemy central, find the experience, but it seems that Orange Juicer's counter strategy is to fight fire with fire.
This is a lot of weird fights in this kind of center of the map right now. Asmonville barely trying to escape. They are going to be able to get back to the goal zone, and yeah, there we go. Nice ability to get that berry, just barely. And so this is just a weird fight in a weird spot before there's any true objectives. Asmonville also just continuing to take part in the fight, despite the fact that they're pretty low.
Yeah.
But this is going to build really nice space for, look like a lot of the EXP could have gone to Nemesis. They didn't have the damage quite yet, and especially with Flareon's kind of sitting there, they could steal some of it, not going to be able to.
All right, so it is Screamion, answer to our earlier questions, as well as the Icy Wind Glaceon. So reduce the defenses and then hit him with that big burst of damage. A lot of synergy required, but that's why Nemesis has been playing it out together for so long. Not to mention, this Phalanx is starting to swing as well. Level 7, and they are hitting some big power spikes. Roland stops the early score, but 18 points are going to go in and leave this goal zone just at 4. Small break, but it will be a goal zone break and a lead take for Nemesis.
Yeah, just barely, though. We've already seen more points scored from both sides than we did from Nemesis altogether in the last game. So
yeah,
things are looking a lot better for them no matter what happens basically from this point onwards, which especially with stacking, right? I'm sure they're going to really want that. But they've got great positioning as well for the Regi Ice. It looks like some really great spacing over there from Metallic, going to be zoning out the rest of the team. Ooh, there was an attempt there, although yeah, the beam was pretty scary.
Yeah, watch out for that solar beam. Again, Flareon's just going to try to position to wherever Yeet Fan is and take full advantage of that Hyper Voice for their side. But Chisel with that Horn Leech engage, gets the curse immediately. Horn Leeches backwards and out of danger, and within range of Roland's soft-boiled heals. Regieleki will probably not make it to this goal zone. However, Machisel has not given up hope quite yet. Yeet Fan going to take down the rest of the HP, but they are going to give up a small score from Roland.
Yeah, Roland get a 1 and a 5 in, saying, I didn't really need that Regieleki there. They are going to go down, it looks like, throwing an egg just for, you know, like, hey, I'll do one little boink to you before I go down. But right now, there's a lot bigger scores going down in this bottom tier 1 on the side of Orange Juicers. It does look like they will be picking up Trainer in revenge. Asmonville, though, finally a full blast, though. It's going to be a lot harder to take down, especially with 2 berries here. But this goal zone, oh my goodness, a beautiful surf. I was going to say the goal zone almost certainly going down, but a few too many points. Asmonville is going to have to go down. They do manage to get a good trade off of it and protect the goal zone. It did not go down.
So impressive. We heard from Metallic saying that Asmonville is one of the more chill people on the team, very calm, cool, collected. I think we saw that in full showing there. That triple surf obviously defends the goal zone long enough, and then trusting Yeet to defend it. We could have seen the immediate Hydro type, well, not quite, they're only at level 8, but still able to hold down in the face of so many enemy targets. Really good stuff from Asmonville.
Yeah, that was a situation where I think a lot of people would have just run away, myself included for sure.
See ya.
But knowing your limits and knowing that you can give up 1 KO as a defender to be able to protect this great positioning, it was, I mean, that's a high-level play for sure.
Yeah, it is fantastic. And now both of these goal zones are up and available so that Nemesis can port back and forth as frequently as they can. Rex allowing this Hoopa to get full value. 4 seconds until both of these Regis are going to spawn. Yifan takes so much damage, they have to Fairy Frolic just to stay up in this fight, as Kratos is going to start doing damage to the Reg Ice. A lot of targets all focusing on it now. Blastoise Hydro Typhoon knocks them sky high. Bliss Assistance makes it just in time, but the Blaziken does go down. When they do not secure it, Mew able to weave in the damage and out-secure Metallic's Phalanx.
It was exactly what you said. They lowered the special defense, and then the Electro Ball did so much damage. But right now, they are still on the defense, despite the fact that Orange Juice has managed to take that basement Regi. They've got so many members of Nemesis trying to break this goal zone, but they are all grouped up. The goal zone will go down. We're going to see a big Phantom Forest come out for a pretty significant significant amount of shields. They did manage to hit a few. Could have hit one more if they were not scoring. But the Tier 1 goal zone going down is a big win for Nemesis. And in the end, they only lost one member. Ooh. Trying to trade a 1-for-1. Metallic trying to take on Flareons, but there's a little bit of support. And I love the backup. I love the backup that Phalanx does when they're just like, oh, no.
Yeah, I guess not anymore. I love that so many new players, and Flareons is an excellent example of this, are rotating toward coaching so often these days. It seems like we're going between coaching and surf in many of these engagements. We're kind of leaving agility off the table. It's a great option. It does give you that move. However, coaching when you trust your team just feels so strong. Light screen deals so much damage to Glaceon. Clearly don't have their passive available in a situation like that. And so Mew is just raining in damage across the board. One knockout, could have been two. And Zugrug, I know it's scary. Everybody's feeling a little stressed out by that, but it does allow the team to KO Regieleki while in the safety of their goal zone and get that constant healing.
That was a lot of confidence in that spacing. Yeah. Let me tell you how many times I've seen that actually knock somebody in.
Get the protractor, Zugrug. Yep. Get it out.
They're just holding up a ruler next to their screen. But no, great spacing, great confidence. I mean, Zugrug obviously has played this Pokemon 100,000 times or something similar to that number, I think. Right now, though, fighting for the Registeel, that Rock Tomb is going to try to wall out everybody else. We're getting a little bit of a 1v1 between the Brawlers up top. Ooh. And there's a little bit of assistance from Trainer to make that a win for Metallic, but Metallic very, very low, trying to fight down. Actually, everybody on Nemesis is extremely low. However, the confirmation will be coming from Rex on that Hoopa for that Registeel.
That is a great objective take. It's a solid team fight. I will say, I'm a little concerned about how Nemesis felt like they had to play that. Trainer was playing that Glaceon like they believed they were the only one that could win that fight. Aggressively positioning, hunting KOs, and kind of leaving the rest of the team to worry about the objective. That's trusting your team. That might be a little bit of a lack of trust in your team. I'm not too sure, but Nemesis are currently holding the lead 200 to 145, and they need to do so for the remainder of the time if they want to tie us up at 1-1.
Yeah, that final stretch kind of snuck up on us. They've been waiting. Oh, goodness. Zugrug moving in, and yeah, that's a nice surf just to escape. You do not want to get caught out by the rest of this team. The initiation is going to be gigantic here. The Hydro Typhoon is going to catch a couple members of Orange Juicers, but they're zooming in, and already Blastoise going down, trading 1-for-1 with the Blaziken. That beam catching very, very well, doing a solid amount of damage to Metallic. They've got to run away now. The reset is going to happen. They are going to be able to get through just barely, while the Hyper Voice is going to do a ton of damage to the Trevenant. Not a lot of damage on the Rayquaza quite yet, so a lot of individual 1v1s or 2v2s across the map, in Metallic, again, just barely escaping. And
we gotta remember, though, Rex does have the hoops unbound with this Hoopa, so at any time, Nemesis could be playing for scores, playing far away from this fight. They'll have the chance to come back. Not anymore. Portal is used very aggressively right in the face of Orange Juicers. Big surf by Hasbel to push a few targets away, and Machisel finally is KO'd. The Trevenant is felled, as is the Blaziken before the overheat can even pop off. Metallic trying to keep this fight up, as now it's Roland versus Metallic in the back end. Zugrug and Flareons, the bot path duo, are now being isolated by Yeet, Asdrubal, and Trainer LGC. Flareons trying to buy as much time as they can. The Mystical Mirage is there, and they do get the KO onto the Blastoise. They cannot make it away, as a boosted auto from Trainer LGC earns the KO. And Nemesis are popping off one by one, earning these KOs, and now they have all the room to work they could have ever asked for.
Yeah, now just so much pressure. Everybody trying to score in different areas, but the problem is that they've already got the lead. So, I should say the problem for Orange Juicers is that Nemesis already has the lead, so this is going to mean that they've got to defend, but they also needed to score, and with 10 seconds left, there was no chance for that to happen. Game number 3 for Winners Finals is on the way.
Whew, and you can tell that is a load off for Nemesis. They're all sitting there going, phew, okay, we still get to play on the winner's side of this tournament bracket. Normally we are seeing this team pop it off, excited, pumped. They're just like...
Nemesis taking the first 2 objectives of the tournament against Orange Juicers.
All right, yeah, we're finally getting that stat up. Well done by Nem. Orange Juicers are going to lock in the Cramorant ban, followed up by the Leafeon ban. Have to imagine we're going to see Tyranitar here yet again from Nemesis. It feels like that is the way the draft has been going so far this tournament. Oh, an adaptation. The Phalanx ban. Will Orange Juicers grab the big rock boy?
Yeah, this is, I do love this ban because it has been really a key part of it. But now my big question, so far recently, when we've been seeing the Umbreon bans, we've been seeing Metagross a lot because, I mean, those shielding can be so nice, but we'll see exactly what the Umbreon ban is for, right? It used to be like, we're choosing speedsters, we do not want Umbreon, but now Umbreon is a ban, a little bit more interesting as far as where you're gonna go. Right now, I mean, solid first 2 picks.
All right, quick Tyranitar update, not picked yet. So we are now into the second picking phase of Purple Side. We've currently left it available. Flareon's hovering that Mew yet again. Looks so fantastic. It feels like Flareon's kit really revolves around the Sylveon, the Mew, and the Inteleon, with the metagame not favoring the Inteleon very much these days. So it's going to be the Hoopa and the Mew.
2 other solid, extremely solid picks. These teams just kind of going with what they're comfortable with. The Lucario would be an interesting choice. Okay, it does look like we are going to see probably Trainer going back to that Glaceon. I think that's extremely solid.
There's no way.
Out great. I do not know.
Okay. A different pink blob. Yeah, that's fine. Rex was nodding and smiling a lot, and I was like, maybe, okay, we're cooking. But I guess not. Now, Orange Juicers going to think about their final options available. Again, a quick Tyranitar update, still available. But it looks like Kratos going with another bird Pokemon, Birdmane, hovering the Dodrio. No shot. Oh, please.
They're going through a lot. Don't time out. We've seen this happen before. Make your decisions. I mean, that's actually more interesting. I mean, the Gardevoir, I think, is amazing. I think one of the most underrated Pokemon right now. But Lapras and then Metallic and then choosing the Gyarados that's been banned so much this weekend and yet has been ignored. So I think that is very, very strong. Again, taking away the Umbreon because Gyarados does get shields as it initiates, so that could help out the counter stealing. And then, of course, with the Bliss Assist.
Yeah, I think Blissey is the biggest reason we saw that Umbreon ban. Metallic running this guard. Okay, they changed the item. I was just gonna say they were locked in on Potion for a moment, but a little bit of the Eastern meta. But we're gonna go with the eject button. It just synergizes too well with the Unite move, I think, to be able to eject button mid animation. So strong. Now the thing is, yes, you were mentioning it's so interesting. The Zugrug Lapras emerges yet again. We are playing double mage. Normally, you love Crustle in a situation like that, or you love Umbreon. Both great lockdown defenders, both of them taken away, whether by ban or whether by selection. So huge stuff there. Now we are going to see what these special attackers can do without a defender that holds a target in place for too long.
We also got confirmation the coolest way possible, walking up and holding up a notebook. Thank you to Icarus. 100% win rate on broadcast for Phalanx.
Okay,
so
cool.
And it's been picked so many times. That is actually, I think, a really significant stat. So
Pokemon's pretty good.
It's pretty decent, you know?
It's 100% win rate good. I'll love to see it. Another thing that's good, Flareons. On camera right now, absolutely cracked player. And of course, our crowd has been touted as the best crowd in all of Pokemon. I mean, the North American Pokemon Unite fans have been showing up for 2 years in a row now. And I mean, how could you not? These games are so exciting, Wonderchef.
They are when this much is on the line. We're in Game 3 of Winners Finals. The winner of this goes to Grand Finals between the 2, I would say, top teams, considered top teams in North America. They're glad that this has been close, but this is their final chance to make it there.
Gyarados versus Trevenant in our top path early. Very interesting. Both Pokemon that obviously have extremely slow early games. One of them is a Magikarp, but it will be the burn damage from Will-O-Wisp on Machisel's Phantom to get that KO. Magikarp not able to make it back to the goal zone, and Machisel back to the drawing board.
Back is the key word here. I'm glad nouns isn't here. I do not want to ask you for the noun of the game once again, but back is also not a noun.
Tortellini!
Yeah, tortellini. You know what? I'm pretty hungry. That works for me. But already we're seeing the Corellia, which is a really, really big power spike. I mean, that once you hit that level 5, you go from, I would say, one of the weakest early game Pokemon to just strong, just scary.
Unbelievably powerful. So much damage coming in, and Rex has taken the full lesson from that one. Gets exploded. Gardevoir plus Mew is a lot of special attack damage. We talked about how strong this double mage composition is. We barely see this worldwide, by the way. North America, one of the only regions that actually elects to playing this kind of play style. Very cool to see Orange Juicers transition from Brawl style compositions to this double mage style composition.
Right now, North America is one of the only regions that chooses anything ranged, apparently.
Yeah, barely.
Really weird way that it's going, but right now we really need to continue to look at Metallic and how fast they will become a Gyarados. We're about to hit the 8-minute mark, so not one of the fastest evolutions that we've ever seen. Of course, for anybody who doesn't know how it works, you do build up an effort gauge as certain things happen. And hey, we saw the start of the evolution up there at exactly the 8-minute mark, which I would say is like a fine time. It's like the average-ish time.
Yeah, it's the imaginary line we've drawn in the sand that is important to evolve at that time. I think that is it is a community benchmark, and I'm a big fan of it. If you're a big fan of interviews, I think you'll also like that one as well. I hope we get some of those on broadcast. Interviews in the building. We need some interviews for sure.
And all right, thumbs up.
Azabel locking down that bottom goal zone. This Lapras versus Crustle duo is I'll call it a glacial stage level of one. It's going to move rather slowly, but it can be exciting a bit later in the game. The thing I was mentioning about the Lapras, though, I was surprised by, was Zugrug, when last time it was chosen, we got to ask him in an interview why they picked that Pokemon. He said it's really good into low damage compositions. I don't know if Nemesis composition qualifies for low damage right now, but certainly they are going to try to find a way to get some value. Otherwise, big scores in that bottom tier goal zone, responded to by Orange Juicers, though, in the bottom side.
I think it's actually what do you call it? High damage composition. I think that's what I call it, yes.
Good title.
Yes. The exact opposite. No, Registeel, though, going down, feeling a lot of high damage from the other team.
Yeah.
That's going to be a very, very quick burn down. But both teams really focusing on one objective. We've seen a lot of fighting for Regieleki today, which does make a lot of sense. I feel like we're hitting a more aggressive meta over time. And the Basement Reggie getting a little bit lonely. But right now, already this Regieleki threatening a Tier 2 glow zone for Orange Juicers. Nemesis has got to feel really happy about that. Gives them so much space to do whatever they want.
I love that push from Nem too. You take the Regieleki, it moves towards it, and you decide, I'm not going to fight for that goal zone for the Regieleki to land. Instead, take the red buff, move away. Something we saw very popular from Kabi-chan's, a team that defeated Nemesis. So a team that may be learning from their opponents as we move on throughout these tournaments and these events. Nemesis always leveling up.
Yeah, and of course, Kabi-chan's actually saying that they liked a lot of what Nemesis did and using some of their strategies once they qualified for the qualifier. It's a weird thing to say, but I mean, that's one of the greatest things about international competition, which we had a chance to get more of this season, is that everybody learns from everybody if you're a good team. If you're not learning from the international competition you get to play against, then you're not doing your job.
Learn your lessons, folks. Great little Rock Tomb combination play with the Hyper Voice. I think that synergy healing any target who's also trapped, very, very powerful.
Not a call out, but as we were watching that, we did just see the Hyper Voice completely whiff on anything because they exited the wild Pokemon away. It was like, wait, I was trying to hit that.
Can we take 20 points off the record for Nemesis, I think, for that?
Yeah, for the lack of coordination trying to take down the Indeedys. But right now, I love this super far forward positioning from Flareon's, managing to not take every tick of that Hyper Voice, and that Horn Leech is going to be a great initiation alongside the Phantom Forest. We are going to see the Unite come out from the Sylveon and the Mew, just everybody popping everything everywhere, but yeah, that reset.
Yeah, great reset. The Egg Bomb just a little bit shy of getting Machisel back through that goal zone. Kratos will go down. Machisel single targets them with the Gyarados Unite move. They still have their eject button. They're going to use that to get away. And now Regice is still available. We do have the pause request. So sorry, everybody. A little bit of an issue in the building. We'll be getting back to this matchup as soon.
Being the same role quite that often in a row. But you know what? We're not going to talk about that anymore because we got the last 4.5 minutes of the final game of Winners Finals here for the North American Regional Championship. And once again, just to recap where we're at, a slight lead as far as points for Orange Juicers, slight lead as far as level for them, but still this is looking neck and neck.
Yeah, so far Flareon's been really putting the work in the damage department, but Gardevoir for Kratos looking excellent as well. Another perfectly timed secure from Flareon's, and that's another objective going in the way of Orange Juicers. Really seems to be their whole shtick, if you will. But now Nemesis is moving up towards the top path, or at least Crustle is. Everybody else has got to respawn.
All right, for anybody out there playing solo queue, do what Orange Juicers is doing. Take the objectives, please. And Regieleki is now currently, looks like being hunted down by Nemesis, but everybody's actually starting to group up there. 4 members of Orange Juicers are getting relatively close while Lapras just kind of sits down on the bottom. And I do like the Rock Tomb to not let anybody quite in, but they haven't done too much damage to the Regieleki, so it looks like this is going to be a fight. The curse coming out, and yeah, trying to get out of there as the Bull, realizing they're taking too much damage. Huge Phantom Forest. The more that hits, the more shielding, the more buffs you get. But actually, it was just barely able to keep them up and keep them healthy. It does look like we may get one KO. pretty significant shield from Metallic, but
wow,
they're not going down. That is unbelievable.
Yeah, Metallic actually trying to burn time as much as they can. They use the bounce not only for unstoppable in range, but also to get the shielding a little bit if they could, and also buy time for Rex to be able to get to them and get the soft-boiled healing in place. However, this fight around the Regieleki is not over quite yet, as Orange Juicers are currently doing damage to that objective on the main side. Asable trying to wall off Machisel to the best of their ability. They don't want the Trevenant to enter the battlefield, and yet they do. Weave in and pull a Horn Leech into one enemy target, and yet again, you could always count on Flareons to secure these objectives.
Oh yeah, Flareons is one of the best securers in the entire game.
Absolutely.
If not, I mean, certainly the region, probably every single region,
yes,
has been so extremely consistent no matter what Pokemon they play, which is very impressive, but that's huge. They really wanted that to be able to push their lead to a point where now within the final stretch, which is happening in just about 15 seconds, they have everything. They've got the levels, they've got a huge point lead. It's no longer to the point where like one person backcapping can make a difference. It needs to be a fight from Nemesis, it needs to be a win from them, or some ridiculous level of backcapping, which I guess is possible, but I don't expect it to see that with Orange Juicers playing so solid. Final 2 minutes of Winners Finals.
All right, we had Machisel use that Trevenant Unite really early on in that fight, but they do get it back. So Phantom Force is there for the Trevenant. So powerful in some of these team fights. Going to really shift the tempo of an entire game. Zogrug aggressively positioned on the right-hand side. Lapras Express might be able to bring a teammate, but it has the impact when it knocks everybody up into the air. Asable already down at about half HP. Rex is going to have to put a lot of resources into them, but now we have the push in. Rock Tomb shuts down Metallic's push. A little bit of miscoordination on the side of Nemesis, and they have to pull back from that fight while using 2 Unites for no value.
That's huge, and the Unites coming out from Orange Juicers could be gigantic. As soon as they see a moment, especially the Gardevoir Unite could be huge. We are going to see 1 Unite coming out from the Lapras, moving in, getting the initiation on Rex. They've got to jump in from Metallic to try and save that, but getting walled off, they get a KO.
A huge egg bump to stop Hoopa from recalling that is going to be the Unite move from Rolling being accessed. Finally, the Lapras goes down. Such a defensive Pokemon, can live through so much, but the Sylveon will go down as well. Fan is knocked out. Great KO by Roland, who on this Hoopa Unbound is just up on a tiny amount of HP. Phantom Force to try to escape Asable, but a couple of X-Scissors will still hit that player, but the psychic damage debuffing the special defense means that Flareons can capitalize. Rayquaza at under half HP. Gardevoir Unite move, Fairy Singularity chasing down the Ray, and yet another objective for Orange Juicers.
And that's the one that they needed. That one taken, it looked like maybe by the Phantom Forest. And we're seeing Machisel just chase down Trainer, getting a little bit of a juke, but I'm not sure if it's going to matter. The lead already going to the side of Orange Juicers. They've got shields, but they are somewhat unvulnerable Pokemon. Kratos getting that shield melted. They've got to get the score in, but the launch is going to make sure that that shield does not matter. However, we still need to see Nemesis score. They did a good job of defending. It looks like maybe a Huddleberg going in bottom, and with 8 seconds left, Orange Juicers will be moving forward to the winner's side of Grand Finals.
Orange Juicers take down their main rivals in Nemesis and lock in their spot, just like you said, Wonder Chef. After a grueling 3-game battle, they're able to put it together when it counts the most. Losing their first objectives of the entire tournament in this matchup against Nemesis, but taking the ones that mattered most. Orange Juicers with an amazing showing.
And their patience in that late game was so good. They managed to save some Unites.